good evening. Tonight we'll be talking about the Dodd-Frank Act. My name is Marco. There's a summary of the act. Basically, what I'm gonna go over, so you can see it was implemented in 2009, and it went through a bunch of changes to 2010 up to today with President Trump in office. All right, so an overview. This act was created to help create a financial regulation amongst banks and the economy in the U.S. So, as we all know, how the bank system works in the U.S. is between borrowers and lenders, which is basically banks and investments, and that's our economy. That's one of the ways our economy thrives. So, this was in 2009. So like 2008 when Obama took office. So there was already many regulations in place, but he thought that they needed to be stricter. While many opposed it, and they thought that regulations were not good for the economy and they would hurt businesses and their chances to keep growing. And this is a history of how the act came into practice. So President Obama wanted to reform the Federal Reserve Bank and regulate financial markets. The bill was proposed in December 2009 by President Obama. So it took a while in Congress and passed through the Senate and all the senators and congressmen. Then was eventually approved on June 2010, and President Obama signed it finally on July 21st, 2010. You can see President Obama signing right there. All right, so the CFPB, which is a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, is focuses on protecting financial industries, monitoring markets, and tracking complaints from customers and what they're satisfied with and what they're not, and to help prevent fraud. And the Office of Financial Research was created to help out the Department of Treasury and other agencies to watch over the insurance. I messed that up again, but I can edit that, so we're good. The OFR's main focus was to analyze the FCSO and provide data about them. Then the Federal Insurance Office was created to help the Treasury Department and other agencies and oversee insurances such as life insurance, health insurance, and auto insurance. The FCSO focuses on monitoring risk and response to risk in the U.S. financial system and analyzes the risk in and out of the markets. Their goal is to promote discipline in the market and then eliminate expectation that the government will protect institution losses. So the Volcker Rule was presented by President Obama as well in connection with the Dodd-Frank Act. This allows banks from making risky investments with their own funds. So it is used to help protect the customers and people who put their money in the bank from being misused and lost. As we know, when you make a risky investment, you don't know what the outcome will be. So in many instances, the banks tend to lose the money. And this became effective in April 2016. Another outcome of this was the Durbin Amendment. The Durbin Amendment controls the Federal Reserve Board to oversee debit card interchange fees. So what this basically does is it monitors debit cards. When you make a purchase, it gives a certain percent. There's always a certain percentage fee you have to pay to the debit card company. So this is what controls it and makes sure it's not too high with the Visa companies or whatever credit card company it is making more money. Taking more money for you, which makes the purchase more expensive. And some recent key regulations were that President Trump signed an executive order to try to get rid of the Dodd-Frank Act because he did not agree with some of the things on it. He believed that it had too much regulation and the banks should do whatever they want with their money. In addition, he got rid of 40 provisions of this act. He presented the Financial Choice Act, which was passed by the House of Representatives. Him getting rid of the Dodd-Frank Act gives him the ability to fire anyone he wants, whenever he wants, for no good reason, for no bad reason. Just because he doesn't like them, then he could do it. And it puts Congress in charge of the Federal Reserve Bank. And the bill also canceled out the Volcker Rule. Here are some references I used throughout the presentation and when I wrote the memo. And that's it for tonight. Are there any questions?
Okay, Marco, so my question for you is, why did the Dodd-Frank Act lead to the creation of the four financial agencies?
Alright, here's the answer to your question. The four agencies were created to help protect consumers from fraud, financial abuse, any kinds of crazy things government can do to us like they do nowadays. So that's essentially why they were created. Some of them are still in act today, but President Trump decided to get rid of a few. So that's it.
Does the Durbin Agreement help or hurt consumers?
Personally, I believe that the Durbin Amendment helps consumers because it poses a certain, as we see right here, it regulates the debit card industry. And as we know, like debit cards are the main thing now. We use them for everything, swipe, swipe, swipe. We don't use cash as much. People rarely have cash in hand. So I think it's good that this amendment is intact because with debit cards, there could be a lot of fraud or financial abuse to the customers or consumers. So it's definitely a good thing, I think.